Hello, I'm Dr. Hassan Tohid, and I'm here once again with a very important topic: how to write research papers. In my previous videos, I have discussed almost all kinds of articles. I discussed literature review writing, I discussed systematic reviews, scoping reviews, mapping reviews, meta analyses, case reports, letter to the editor, but I never discussed general topic of research writing, a topic or a video that could be helpful for any kind of article. If you need general guidance, then this video is for you. This video is for general research article writing that could be applicable to any kind of study design. I know many people would say it is not possible, and many would say it is possible. So you just watch it, get some value out of it, and whatever is relevant to your study design, keep it, otherwise ignore it. So let's begin. How to write research papers. Remember, research papers are possible for everyone. Anyone can do it. Anyone can write research articles and anyone can publish it. The first thing first is to remove this mental barrier that I cannot be a published author, or it's difficult for me to be a published author. In fact, change the communication or the conversation you do to yourself. Say, I can be a published author. Yes, I can. Yes, I can be a published author. Yes, I can write a paper. If other people can do it, I can do it as well. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can complete my paper. I can finish a paper. Until you remove this barrier, you will not be able to write a research article. And this is general for all kinds of study designs. It doesn't matter what kind of study design you're working on. If your mindset is not right, you will not be able to do that. That's why changing the mindset is the first step. Always talk to yourself in a positive manner that yes, I can do it. I can finish paper. I can learn to write a research article. I can write a paper and I can publish a research article as well. Now, once you have worked on your mindset, remember it's an everyday exercise. You have to keep saying it again and again until your mind starts to believe in this philosophy. Because when you haven't done anything, it's very difficult to convince your own mind to do that. But if you keep repeating this auto suggestion that I'm giving to you, you will be able to believe in yourself that yes, I can do it. Now, once you have worked on your mental attitude, the next thing is, of course, working on your topic. What exactly are you trying to do? What kind of research article? What is your topic? What is your subject? So remember, choose the topic that you are passionate about. Don't write a paper just because for the sake of writing, just because for the sake of publishing, because otherwise you will be burned out. It's very difficult to finish a paper that you are not passionate about. You will feel like it's a burden. You will feel like it's a lot of work. It's stressful. But if you write something related to what you're passionate about, what you love the most, you will be able to finish it really fast, and it will become automatically easier for you. This is the beauty of passion. When we are passionate about something, it becomes easy for us. And this is the sign of passion, something that is naturally easy for us. Let me tell you a story. Once I was working on my paper early on in my research career. I tried my best to write that paper. I could not do it. I could not do it. And I kept procrastinating and I kept doing the wrong way. I could not do it. It was related to technology and medicine. And this was not my topic until one day I decided, why not at the same time I start working on a second paper. Now this is crazy, right? When you haven't done anything, you haven't published anything, jumping on onto a second project, it sounds crazy. But that turned out to be the best decision of my life, because my second topic, I decided, why shouldn't I write a topic related to what I love the most? And I wrote a paper related to human brain. That was my specialty. And I finished that paper so fast. And this paper was such a good quality paper that I not only just completed it in really short span of time, but it was a very well written article. And then I understood that until we choose something we are passionate about, we will not be able to either complete the project that we were working on, or if we do complete it, it will take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it will be stressful. And even after that, possibly that the quality, the possibility is that the quality of that paper will not be good enough. But if we work on our passion, it will be easier, faster, and the quality will be automatically good because we love it. We enjoy doing it. That's why it is important to choose a topic that you're passionate about. Once you are done with that, now the next thing is to decide your research question. Yes, generally, research question follows the PICO format. P for population or problem, I for intervention, C for comparison or control group, and O for outcome. This is a general format of research question. So try to have all the components of PICO question in your research question so that you are on track, because your research question will serve as a navigation system. Just like the GPS of the car, right? You put an address and then you take your car towards the direction that GPS is telling you. The same thing is your research question. Remember, your GPS is your research question. Now, once you have decided your research question, follow it, make sure that you keep looking at your research question so you don't lose the aim. You don't lose the target that you are aiming to achieve. Now, PICO question, is it valid for all study designs? No. Just use common sense in regular reviews. You don't need PICO question. You just need two things to combine together and you will be able to write a paper. Broad topic can actually be your research question, but you will need PICO question in scoping reviews, in mapping reviews, in systematic reviews, and in meta-analysis. Now, in systematic reviews, if you want to make sure that they remain systematic reviews and they don't become meta-analysis, then try to include studies where there are no control group, or remove control group from your research question. It will be tough, I know. So just include different kinds of studies, all possible kinds of studies, so that it doesn't become a meta-analysis. But if you want to do a meta-analysis, then include all studies that are similar in nature. And for clinical trials, you will need PICO. For observational studies, you will need PICO, but instead replace I with E, exposure. So you call it PECO, P-E-C-O. And if you see, many people use PICO with TT. What are those small t's, two t's? P for population or problem, I for intervention, C for comparison, O for outcome, right? And if it's observational studies, P for population, E for exposure, C for comparison, and O for outcome. But T is the type of study, and the other T is the time. So you can add those things. These two T's are optional. Just letting you know that if you want to add them, you can do that. Now, once research question is done, the next thing is data collection. If you're doing review articles, you collect data from secondary sources from previously published papers. If you are doing any other kind of study design, clinical trials, or observational studies, or if it's an animal study, or if it's in vitro study, you collect data that is the primary data in your lab, or in your hospital, or in the field, or in the rehab clinic, wherever you are. If you're doing clinical trial, you will have patients and you will have the intervention that you will administer, and you will look at the after effect of the administration of that intervention. So that's your clinical trial. Where can you do that? In a hospital setting, or you can do that in a lab, or you can do that in the field, or you can do that in a rehab facility, nursing home, anywhere, depending upon your situation, where exactly. If it's an observational study, you can do it in the field, you can do it in the lab, you can do it in the hospital, same thing. Case studies, same thing. Case series, same thing. Animal studies, mostly in the lab. In vitro studies, mostly in the lab. So this is how you collect your data. You work on your data, collect your data, and make sure you write your data down, the collection of your data from step 1 to the last step, because you will have to report it. You have to write it in your method section of your paper. That is why that data collection is very important. Then the results, keep the record of the results, because you have to write those results in your manuscript. Now, once that is done, now the writing begins. Now, remember, to write, you need to understand and remember the structure of a regular research article. So what is the structure? Remember the IMRAD format. I, M, R, A, and D. IMRAD. I for introduction, M for method, R for results, A is nothing, A is just and D is discussion. So this is the sequence. Introduction is the first part, method is the second part, results, and then the discussion is the fourth part. But now, do we include other parts in there? Yes. Remember, IMRAD format is just to guide you, but it's not the complete paper. I for introduction, method, results, and discussion. But after discussion, you can add conclusion and then the references. And above the introduction, you will have the abstract. Yes, abstract. So the real sequence is abstract, introduction, method, results, discussion, conclusion, references, and you can have acknowledgements in the middle as well before references. So this is the sequence. Now, what each of these sections will have. Remember, introduction is the problem. What is the research problem? Why are you doing this project? So you will mention that in your introduction section. Keep it to 3 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs, but do not forget what is the problem and what is your research question. Mention it here. Why are you writing this paper? What is the importance of this research question? Give references, give citations, at least 8 to 15 references here, or up to 20 references in introduction section. Then come to the method and results section. Method section, everything you have already done. Now just write it down in the past tense and see how other people have done it. If it's a clinical trial, how other people have done their clinical trials, how they have written their method section. Follow the consort guidelines, follow the strobe guidelines for observational studies. Checklist. Remember the checklist. Now I'm making things easier for you. If you're writing a systematic review, follow Prisma checklist and see what are the requirements of a method section and results section. If you're writing a clinical trial, consort guidelines, what is the requirement of method section and results section? If you're writing observational studies, then strobe guidelines. What is the method section? What is the results section according to strobe guidelines, STROBE. If you're writing a case report, then care guidelines, CARE. Animal studies, arrive is the checklist. So, or circle scale. You can also use arrive or circle scale for animal studies, but one of them is the quality appraisal tool. But it's okay, you can do that. If you do that, you will still be able to write a good paper. Some people say that, do I have to follow Prisma checklist to write my systematic review? Can I use the AmStar checklist, although it's a quality appraisal tool? But yes, you can do that. It's fine. But try to use the reporting guidelines. Now, once method and results sections are done, then what is the method section? Method is how did you solve your problem? Introduction was what is the problem? Method was how did you solve the problem? Results is what did you find? And discussion is what do your findings mean? The interpretation and analysis. The interpretation and analysis of your findings. And then the limitations of your findings of your paper. And then you add some figures and tables here in discussion section, and you can also add some tables and figures in results section. And then the conclusion section is what is the lesson learned, and then the references. But now what part is left? Abstract. You write it in the end. And abstract is the summary of your paper. Summary of your paper. Summary is what do I mean by summary of the paper? Remember, if you don't want to mention the full summary, just use it like a trailer of a movie. Just a quick highlights of your paper. And usually write informative kind of abstract. I have described before what is informative abstract. You can go back to any of my videos on abstract and you will be able to understand what abstract is and what kinds of abstracts are there. But in this video, I want to keep it short, so I don't want to go into the details of how to write abstract. So just remember, so the actual sequence comes out to be abstract, usually write informative abstract, then the introduction, then the method, results, discussion, conclusion, and then the references. And that's how you finish your paper. And once your paper is done, make sure you do the editing and send it for proofreading. Hire an editor and make sure there are no spelling mistakes or grammatical mistakes. If you cannot hire a proofreader, you cannot find anyone, although there are plenty of proofreaders available online on different websites like freelance. Any freelancing website can help you in finding an editor or proofreader of the language that you're working on. Mostly the articles are written in English, so you can easily find editors in English who can edit and correct your grammatical and spelling errors. Once that is done, make sure plagiarism is also checked. Don't plagiarize. Don't copy paste. Always rewrite in your own words and give a reference. When you are writing something, don't copy paste. If you have to take information from somebody, you still rewrite in your own words and give a reference. And once the paper is done, then submit to a journal, and hopefully you will see your publication really, really soon. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. Keep learning, keep watching. We'll meet again.